forgot about semen.
Hello and welcome to Popcorn Dreams Gut Reactions. If you are looking for a quick spoiler-free review, then you have come to the right place. Today we are watching the Eurovision Song Contest, the Story of Fire Saga. It was directed by David Dobkin and written by Will Ferrell and Andrew Steele. Two childhood friends from Iceland who dream of winning the Eurovision Song Contest, form a band called Fire Saga, and attempt to fulfill their dreams. It stars Will Ferrell as Lars Eriksson, Rachel McAdams as Sigrid Eriksdottir, Pierce Brosnan as Eric Eriksson, Dan Stevens as Alexander Lemtov, and Demi Lovato as Katiana. Will Ferrell is Will Ferrell. You have seen this shtick many times before in any film that he's done before. I enjoy him. Your mileage may vary, but he's not shaking anything up here. You know exactly what he's going to be doing.
All of Iceland thinks
we are a joke.
That's not true.
And my father is ashamed of me.
No, he's not.
He looked me into the eyes and said, I am ashamed of you.
Maybe he was drunk.
He said, and you might think that I'm drunk, but I am dead sober.
Pierce Brosnan is fun in an extended cameo, but his accent is kind of all over the place. But, you know, doesn't really detract from it that much.
Idiot.
The two people, though, who really elevate the film are Dan Stevens in scene-stealing form.
Wow.
You have to watch that guy. He is a sex player. Hey, looking good. Sigrid, very beautiful voice.
Thank you.
Whenever he's on screen, really, he's very funny. His motivations aren't particularly clear, but it doesn't matter because he plays it with such relish that it's just fun to watch. The other person who really stands out is Rachel McAdams. She really gives the film heart, and when it succeeds, it's because of that heart.
What are you doing?
I just want my ding-dong to look bigger than what is really there.
Smart.
Yeah.
I could do a camel.
Do a classic camel. It's never out of style.
Yeah.
She doesn't necessarily get the best lines, but she is the reason we care about anything that's going on. And when the big finale happens, it's her that makes it work.
Ever since we were children, we've had one dream.
Winning.
The Eurovision Song Contest.
A lot of the movie is shot on location or on sound stages, and I think genuinely the Eurovision Song Contest stage at several points, if it's not actually the Eurovision Song Contest, then they did an excellent job of recreating the kind of staging that they use. That means that it could have been a cheaper way to film it, but it doesn't show on screen. It looks every bit like a proper production, even though it's Netflix. Sometimes Netflix stuff looks like they were trying to cut corners financially here and there, but 9 times out of 10, their stuff looks amazing. And this film looks exactly like, say, Talladega Nights or even Anchorman. What stood out to me more is the songs, which show a real understanding and possibly appreciation of Europop, and particularly the kind of songs that get submitted to Eurovision. I found the songs to be light, catchy, and in a few places actually quite funny.
42 countries, hundreds of performers, and a worldwide audience of 180 million. This is Eurovision.
The script is a little stretched out. There are long periods where there's nothing particularly funny happening. And it really feels like a good editor could have really reduced this film down to being sort of an hour and a half rather than 2+ hours. But then I'm being picky. Ultimately, whenever we have like a long period, there's something happening in the story that helps build those characters, or there's a little homage to Eurovision going on, and it almost always leads to some sort of set piece that is then quite funny. I really feel that the scriptwriters and everyone involved, clearly Will Ferrell because he went and visited the actual Eurovision Song Contest, there's a real sort of understanding and almost love of Eurovision, And that kind of comes through in a lot of the little touches that they do. Normally Ferrell's films get their comedy through conflict. If you look at things like Step Brothers or Anchorman being sort of the benchmark that all other Will Ferrell films are judged by, there's always that conflict going on and that problem that is sort of building because of the character's sort of stupidity or obstinance. There's always that conflict going on. But here is different. The film builds the emotion and the connection and also the comedy through the care of the main two characters for each other. Whereas Will Ferrell's character doesn't see what's right in front of his face because he's a little self-absorbed, he's a bit selfish, and he doesn't really get how everybody around him is feeling or thinking or doing. He's just got this one main drive. Whereas Rachel McAdams, her sort of care for people around her, and especially Will Ferrell's character, helps aid the comedy.
Lars, you are a dreamer. My dreamer.
We can't. Really? Romance, it ruins the bands. Fleetwood Mac, Ace of Base, Simon and Garfunkel.
Have you seen Spinal Tap? Spinal Tap is a film that makes fun of rock bands and rock concerts and touring and all of the things to do with that. But it does it in a sort of gentle, understanding way. The people that made that film really loved rock and everything to do with it. And you get the same thing here. Eurovision is very campy, it's almost silly. In England a lot, the commentators of the competition every year make fun of it. But it's a loving fun. They're not here to show, look how Eurovision is really stupid. There's a love of Eurovision that goes through the whole film. And that's why we get, in the middle, you get a song montage that has a lot of recent either winners or very successful, very famous or infamous performances. And they all get together in one of the parties and they all sing a little bit. And it's this nice sort of winking reference to all of the different performers from Eurovision. Now, if you don't know about Eurovision, if you've never watched Eurovision, that whole sequence is going to stick out. It's going to feel weird. You're going to be like, why are all these people singing? This isn't really funny, because it's not. It's more a kind of honouring of those people. But if you have seen Eurovision, then you'll get it, and it will make you smile a little inside.
This is it. We have to prove to Iceland and my extremely handsome father that my life hasn't been a waste.
I enjoyed this movie and I would recommend it. But I grew up with Eurovision. I have 4 older sisters. Eurovision got played quite often in my house as I was growing up. Not every year, we weren't like fanatic about it, but it got seen. When I was at uni, some people used to have Eurovision parties. So for me, it's like a cultural moment. And so this film balances perfectly making fun of, but also sort of celebrating the sort of campy joy of Eurovision. If you've never seen Eurovision, will you get this film? I don't know. I guess to you, it's kind of like, you must have heard of Europop. You must have heard those kind of disco beats, sort of heavy on the synthesizer. I've got no idea how this will play, especially to say people like in America, for example, where I doubt Eurovision has made much impact. I've got no idea whether you'll get it or whether you'll just see this as a bit funny Will Ferrell film that isn't as funny as some others that he's made. So for me, it's not Anchorman level, but it's as good as many of his other films. If you enjoy Will Ferrell, you'll enjoy this. If you enjoy the Eurovision Song Contest, you'll enjoy this. And I could think of worse ways to spend 2 hours of your life. Check it out on Netflix now. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this review, then don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and click that little bell so that you get notifications of all our future videos. And I will see you next time on Popcorn Dreams.